I also welcome Sri Devaki Vasudeva Garu, social activist and entrepreneur. Vasudeva Garu is one of the founding members of Abhaya. He's a self-made man.
President CSR Rangai Garu, dignitaries from the dais, Vasudeva Rao Garu, Krishna Mohan Garu, and a gentleman I met recently who has dedicated his life to social service and upliftment for the society, and the founder, Swami Balchandar Garu, and all the dignitaries here in the audience. A very good morning to all of you. I heard and read about Abhaya Foundation, but after that, before coming to this event, I learned a little more about it, and of course through the audio visual, and I'm deeply moved by the individuals associated by this organization who have contributed so much to the society, and unending service, and some of them a lifetime of service, and a meaningful service that is benefiting lakhs of individuals who need such philanthropy. But having said that, I have my own experiences with corporate social service. We discussed this in the parliament several times, and there are pros, there are cons. And I think the law was enacted only in 2013. Prior to that as well, there was corporate social responsibility who took it on themselves. It was not a law. Now, of course, it is mandatory. When it was not mandatory, I felt 100% of the amount spent by corporates was useful, and most of it was very efficient. There was very little money wasted in the overheads and doing such programs serving the society. I was, however, associated with several MNCs. I was heading a couple of them as a CEO and managing director. That was before 2013. But even then, some corporates were truly focused on social service. Some corporates took it up because it helps in the HR, it helps team building process. So there's philanthropy and there's gainful philanthropy. So philanthropy can also be gainful, if not in monetary terms, of course you know about it, in motivating the employees, in building teams, and also increasing the image of a corporate. And I remember while I was heading one of the MNCs as the CEO and manager director, that was I think in 2002, 2003, way before this was made mandatory. We all used to go to a village which is about 70 kilometers away in 2 buses, and we had already identified a school that needed painting. So we went there with paintbrushes and sunnam, and we painted it. We didn't do a great job, but we went there. There was some team building activity, we came back. And then I realized the amount we spent on the buses and the transportation and the type of work we did, I think we probably spent 3 or 4 lakhs for the event. And what was really useful to the school was only about 30,000. 90% of it was wasteful expenditure. So corporate social responsibility, one of the litmus tests for corporate social responsibility is how much money that the corporate is spending is actually going to benefit those who need it. So that is definitely a litmus test. And regarding the law itself, when the law was being proposed, I was not a parliamentarian, but we did discuss in the parliament after that and before with some of my friends and my professionals in the corporate world. And my personal opinion was that, at that time was that corporate social responsibility responsibility should not be made mandatory. Because I believe the best corporate social responsibility is running a good business, making profit, paying taxes, providing employment, and you're going to make profits only if you provide a good service that the society needs, or manufacturing a good product that society needs, and at affordable price which the society can afford. And thereby, by making profits, providing employment, you actually also improve the economy of the country. So my firm belief several years ago or several decades ago was corporate social responsibility should not be made mandate, because running a good business itself is a paying taxes, being environmentally responsible, that itself is one of the greatest corporate social responsibility. But having said that, it's made mandatory, and in 2013 it started. And when it started, it didn't start on a good footing. There are so many lacunas, loopholes in the corporate social responsibility. Like I said, the example of what I said, we spent 3 lakhs and only 90%, only 10% really reached the benefit. And we did a bad job at paying to the school. But corporate social responsibility evolved. It evolved, and it needs to evolve more. And when it becomes really better than not mandatory corporate social responsibility is actually a graph we had drawn. Because if you pay taxes, the government spends taxes for development of the country as well as for welfare of the poor and needy. So if the government spends those taxes efficiently, where is the need for corporate social responsibility? And corporate social responsibility ends if you do a good business and make profits. So that graph is, if you make profits and pay taxes to the government, and I think this year, the GST is going to be something like 14 lakh crores. And you pay those, and government uses it effectively not only for the development and the progress of the nation, but also for addressing the poor and needy and the disadvantaged. So the graph goes like this. The cost versus benefit. If the cost is high and the benefit is low, which is what the governments used to be in the past. In fact, one of the former prime ministers said, every rupee a government spends, 85 paisa goes in the overheads and get lost in between, only 15 paisa reaches the bottom level. But now I think the governments all over India, not just one, they've become efficient because of direct cash transfer, because of Jan Dhan Yojana, because a majority of the people in India have banks, and including the poor and the white card holders. Because of that, government spending on welfare has become much more efficient. Now, if the corporate social spending, which is about 27,000 crores, I think, last year, thanks to the public sector companies which were perpetually making losses, have started making profits. State Bank of India profits are now more than Reliance Industries' profit. So, if the government efficiency is coming down, and efficiency is increasing in the sense the benefit is more and the cost is less. So when I say this, it's actually increasing. Whereas corporate social responsibility, when we started initially in 2010, the benefit was low and the cost was high. When these 2 points crisscross and the efficiency of corporate social responsibility is more, wastage and overheads are less, then corporate social responsibility has a meaningful reason to exist in our country. And I think we are reaching that tipping point now. After how many years? After 10 years, we are reaching there. The corporate social responsibility efficiency is more than government efficiency. But in government efficiency, you have to take away 2 things. One is, what is truly welfare and what is freebies? Even if the freebie are reaching the point efficiently, it's not nation building. In fact, it is nation destructive. If you take this government money and give it purely to one community or one caste or one vote bank, just for the sake of votes, no matter how wealthy they are, just because they belong to that group, if the money is given, that is, while welfare being efficient, welfare is being used for vote banks. So that is something also we need to factor in. So if you factor in that aspect also, where welfare of the public money is used for freebies for political purposes, corporate social responsibility has now an even more deeper meaning. But let me explain, excuse me if it's on the lighter side or something. I also discovered something. I'm involved in a few activities. One of the big activities I'm involved is cleaning school toilets. So we have 7 Swachh trucks. Each truck goes to 30 villages and cleans the school toilet there and goes on to the next villages. So we go to every 210 villages every day, where our boys, well dressed with gloves and with pride and dignity, they go and clean the school toilets. So I started doing that. Before I had 1 truck, now I have 7 trucks. And I was always seeking, of course, a lot of it I bear, but any help was helpful. So I was seeking corporate social responsibility budget to be allocated. By the way, it's very efficient because per school per month to clean the school toilet, it costs only 1,500 rupees. So 30 to 1,500 is 45,000 rupees to run that. And it runs only 10 months because 2 months holidays. So, and the cost of buying the truck is per year 4.5 lakhs, and the cost of truck is about 5 or 6 lakhs. So I was seeking corporate social responsibility. And one of the banks had given me 2 trucks recently, about 1.5 years back. About 6 lakhs each they had given me the truck. But this is what I call quid pro quo corporate responsibility. In order for me to get that, one of my companies had to deposit 10 crores in their bank account so that the bank manager could reach their target. There's one more software company which had given me a truck, and he had given me a truck because I helped them in a land dispute they had with the local gundas. Again, a quid pro quo corporate responsibility. So these are some of the ways corporate social responsibility is sometimes misused. I would rather be happy if somebody who I never helped, purely out of the philanthropy of their hearts, they have given it. There's one more example. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not doing anything harmful. Even if they're doing for a selfish reason, at the end of the day, it's going for the right purpose. So it's not so bad as government using welfare, converting into freebies for political benefits. So in one more case, I've seen corporate social responsibility has 3 main benefits, or benefits back to the corporate. One is it builds a team. Second is there's a tax benefit, and then it provides a good branding, because the corporates can now advertise, see, I'm helping this poor and things like that. So in the building of the image, what they do is, one of the company that was making shoes, through its corporate social responsibility, gave shoes with its brand. So they give, but they're giving their own product. So they're getting it back, giving it one hand and taking with the others. Of course, it's still beneficial. Similarly, there was one more company making school bags, and they had their company name written on it, and it's their brand. It's their own school bags they're giving. And they're not giving this thing at their manufacturing cost, they're giving it free of cost. So these are some of the ways that may not be fully beneficial, But, and some corporates, what they started is, I have a big company and my daughter-in-law is well educated, but she doesn't have a job, she doesn't want to go. They start their own NGOs. The same corporate starts their own NGO and then gives it to that. So these are some of the inefficient, these are some of the loopholes and things like that. And, but I'm glad to say that now, that's how it started. There's also a group of officers club which formed social responsibility. They used to go and donate to orphanages and things like that. And that again, there was pressure on PSUs to route all the corporate social responsibility through this organization. I'm glad that organization closed down. It was called SCOPE. They used to be bureaucrats sitting in Delhi and their families used to run it. And I'm very glad that organization now closed. The brochure is phenomenal. Poor, needy children, old man, starving people, phenomenal. I think the brochure itself cost about 1,000 rupees. So these are some of the ways corporate social responsibility are misused. And that is becoming less. And what is more efficient? There's one more point. Now, in the law, if I'm not mistaken, I'll also use the opportunity to help some of the members in the audience and on the dais to correct me. You can send in my note either on an email or a Twitter, send me a note. But I think every corporate should have a CSR office. And the salaries to the CSR office, some have a dedicated employees there, bigger companies, and the salaries to some of the CSR people runs into crores. And that's a wasteful effort. And I think that overhead of the corporate social responsibility should come down in some of the large companies. The welfare versus freebies, we all heard. Do we really need to give the lowest man money or help directly? Or we should help him earn it himself? And I think we should do both. Because we all heard that, we all are English educated, we all heard the Indian, don't give a man fish, teaching fishing. And I heard that. But after joining politics, I realized in some cases you have to give the man fish. You have to give him, because by the time you start teaching him how to fish, he learns, he catches a fish, brings it home, good. His 3 starving children would have died. So a lot of economists also are against the theory of don't give the man fish. There are many cases, that too in developing countries in India, you have to do that. You have to give the man fish, at the same time start teaching him how to fish as well. So eventually, by the time he learns fishing, at least he doesn't starve. We have seen many corporates doing great social responsibility by themselves. And one of the gentlemen I had come across, right from when I was a child, he was very socially responsible. And probably because he came from a humble background. And he went on to become the largest sweet shop in the country, in our state at least. And he not only was socially responsible because he knew how the poor people lived, and he became the wealthiest millionaire in this part of the Andhra, Telangana. And what he used to do is, if any young unemployed person or poor person comes, he used to teach them how to make sweets and set up their own sweet shop and give them loan to set up their sweet shop. And he did that. And there are so many sweet shops who are competing with him, and he helped them. So that is truly corporate social responsibility. And he built a brand for himself. His goodness, he built a brand for himself. And when you build a brand like this, it's stronger than any other brand. And I found it very funny. His name is Pullareti. So his brand, normally sweets are teepee, pulla is sour. So the name did not affect his brand at all. What he actually did to the society built his brand and the quality of his sweets and things like that. So much for consultancy and how to name, how to give a tagline to your company. All that doesn't matter. If the people perceive your company as doing real good to the society, that itself is a bigger brand. You can be pulla, but selling sweets, and you can still be very successful. I really feel privileged to be here because after seeing the work that Abhaya Foundation has been doing, and I think corporates should recognize that. The efficiency of money spent. I feel most corporates can do much better having a very little CSR overheads and identifying organizations such as this and route their money. Because people like this, through them, rather than trying to do rather than me and bunch of guys going and painting a school wall, that too we are not good at painting. Or rather than having a huge, some 2-3 crore budget for the CSR office, they can just have one part-time or 2 part-time employees and at least use that corporate overheads itself for running the CSR office to identifying such organizations and actually routing the CSR to such organizations. I am really privileged to be here and thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for